the merry-go-round or the mar-ego-round. Just depends on how you pronoun and say it, you see. Accents, everything plays a critical role in this. This is the critical mass that you are attending tonight. This key I offer all equally, unconditionally, infinitely. Life is a fickle game, literally a fickle game. This is the realm where we come to play and get caught up in the dramas and distractions to see if we can finally let go of them, to see this. The amount of drama you have in your life is the quintessential mirror of your woven webs. In essence, you are on a suicide mission, which is easy to prove if you think you have a tombstone with your I'm mortal name on it waiting for you. The all-caps version proves you never lived and remained legally dead by choice. Or, if you choose to finally be immortal. The ego balks at such a thing as being impossible, but then I leave the realm of believers behind in the age of Pisces or Pieces, where I prefer the Aquarian waters of truth. You will know the shift in your own consciousness to the degree that you get that last statement or two. When you see it, your eyes will grow large like saucers, and a calm, such as you've long forgotten, will wash over you. This game is one by one versus a mass awakening, but then such is and always will be the savior program of the many. Too afraid or lazy to do the work to step off the merry-go-round and continue to seek another to save them. That's not how the game works. But the good news is, if you fail to become immortal this time, don't worry. You get to come back through the same lifetime in Groundhog Day fashion. This might be a good time to stop being affected by the past, because you're just going to go through it again in a different timeline loop. You will repeat the exact same things that you remain a victim to, unless you see this. When you can see the infinite realities and timelines that all exist now, it's easy to see the game plan. You only get so many kicks at the same timeline until you short out your loop, drop the current body, and return to the instant of your birth to start from scratch all over. Ever experienced deja vu? Let that sink in for a moment. You can remain as a victim to the same woes over and over until you learn to see what the contrast was trying to show you. Now you have a choice as to whether or not you will deal with your dramas in the now, or relive them over and over until you've finally had enough. I grow weary of the supposed gurus of this realm, who spew the same old ego rhetoric and haven't a clue as to who and what they really are. People are so involved in other people's dramas that they never notice their own until usually it's too late. Reboot. All reality points lead to the now moment, regardless of their perceived location, because every start point at birth has the thread that reconnects to the main line, or consciousness trunk line, where it's up to you and every point of you to thread back to the now. Imagine a tree where the roots and branches merge together, and then you'll have the visual of the toroid, torus fields, weaving infinitely together. See the toroid, torus field be all playing as one, separately. This is the ride of the universe, and depending if you ride this coaster screaming or hands up baby, at all points in between, is indicative of your spiritual growth and development within the game of the mind. Dramas and debate are the realms of the ego, id, I'd mind, or the no-go, I had mind. You are in the now moment if you are reading or hearing this. You are fully aware of yourself now, where most are in a dream state to this reality. Infinite versions of you exist in all realities, all possibilities, all inevitabilities, where nothing is impossible and all things are I'm possible. The more one remains at effect to emotions of the past, the more one recreates that timeline, becoming that reality revisited, until you can cut the strings of Pinocchio that keep you as a wooden, would-en, would-mind, would-en, or simply my would-do mind. I cannot stress enough the reality of the magic contained in the phonics and sounds that expose this fully. At first you will find it difficult to believe, but the more you do this, the more you see it as pure magic and the surrealism of our playground. Let me expose some of these so-called coincidences by breaking down Pinocchio phonetically. Literally, Pinocchio is just a character in a play or a movie as portrayed by Disney, etc. This game is about awareness, not knowing, inasmuch as you know all things and are simply in a state of forgetfulness or not in a state of wearing, awareness. So let's break it down into sound components first, such as pin, o, key, on, or sorry, add an N in there, Pinocchio, or pin, o, key, o, via the syllables or the hydra of the torus field. Interestingly, by coincidence, the hydra is a single-celled organism that both eats and shits through the same orifice, orifice. I'll start with pin, where it can be sounded pine, from the pine cone, or pineal, pineal gland. It can also be pronounced pen, pon, pun, pan, since every vowel can replace every vowel via the rules of pure grammar. As an example, if EA can sound like EE in bead, it can also sound like EE in bread, changing the sound and the intent of the sound to breed. So, in effect, you are using all the rules to break all the rules at the same time. This is the singularity of language and spells. Take, for example, the energy you may react to if someone says, suck my cazzo, versus suck my cock, where one sound affects you and the other doesn't because you are not programmed via language in the other sound yet. They both have the same intent. To me, cock is ka-k, or ka-k, or cock, etc. So the words and assumed spellings in the mind do not affect me, where I have redirected the intentions contained to ones of my choice, not by another's programmed definitions. So, back to pin we go. Pen means mind from Welsh, meaning head, or from Latin penna, meaning long feather. It is also something to write with in the form of a quill, and so on. But if you do a little research on that word, you will quickly notice how it pertains to the mind and the intentions of the mind. What else has quills or Q-ills? Q is the egg and sperm in picture form, or the sound that says what your position is, as in, take your cue on the stage. The letter or sound of O is one of all creation to me, the womb in which all things are given birth, and wings, depending on the intention and awareness of the spells you utter, give milk of life to every day. The sound of key is simply key, where the remaining C is the all-accepting womb, or note, creation, say, of unconditional love. So the word pin-o-c-kio is now redefined in my reality to mean the mind of creation of unconditional love, law of truth, lave, is the key to all creation. Is it a coincidence that the whole story, an allegory, was about a wooden puppet, formerly dead, asleep on a quest to become a real live boy? It is the allegory of raising oneself from the dead, laws are us, or laws of magnetic electric, on the quest of immortality. How's that merry-go-round working for you in the literal world? This is about deconstructing the spellings to their core truth, where the literal is the mirror opposite of truth. Such is the nature of the game. When we use only the prescribed versions, truth shuns or verse ions, of the singular dictionaries in only one language, we exclude the intentions contained within the sounds of all other languages. Sound is the universal creation and universal solvent at the same time. For anything to be created, something must be destroyed, and anything destroyed becomes a new creation. It is only the intent that separates these two equal and opposite things, becoming a singularity accordingly. Even seeing what I am seeing and experiencing what I am experiencing is difficult to fathom most days, So I fully understand how overwhelming this can be, going from aha moment to aha moment in rapid eye movement. This is why I tell everyone to breathe, where too many cooks or thoughts spoil the broth, where this soup cooks all by itself in the silencing or silencing of the mind. Abel is a perfect chef or key of fa, the note of the heart, and all she wishes for is for us to simply let go and be silent to allow creation to serve this meal, or M-E all, magnetic electric all. So sit back in the cab of Allah and enjoy it. Yes, this merry-go-round can be very distracting, fearful, entertaining, with all manner of reasons to have the urge to think, and that's why it's so difficult for most. The singularity of the mind is perfect in that we all want to solve our problems. Anal light I call, why? But the left mind, just like the wrong heart, anus, anus, will serve you nothing but shit for your cane fields. This is why my own lust for silence can be taken by many as my ignoring them. But the truth is, I simply don't take crops grown in the cane fields, fertilized with shit birthed through the wrong heart. Hopefully, by now you've had a few aha moments where you're beginning to see the thread I have found that runs through all creation, connecting all things in all ways. Inasmuch as all roads lead to Rome, so must all roads come from Rome, and it all depends on which Rome or Ram you serve. The physical literal or the heart of all creation, anagogic without the G-hex, Anu, O-I-C. The key to the game is to remove all emotions from programmed words, since every word means what you intend it to mean, and the exact opposite. Anyway, so where's the debate?